Hello, hello. This is Lisa Nickel, host of the Sacred and Rooted podcast. Thanks for listening in, tuning in. Great to have you. And if you do like this podcast, please feel free to send it to everyone you know and spread it throughout the ethers because that is the way that the message goes. This episode is going to be focused on 5 ways to reduce overwhelm. I think this should help greatly. Uh, there's a lot of overwhelm in the field these days, and I just wanted to, you know, give my 5 things that I recommend to reduce overwhelm that I use for myself, that I use with my clients, that I use with my employees, to just, I guess we need to work on exercise our muscle, our mental muscle, our ability to take in a lot of things, but not necessarily feel like we have to own them or that we have to do them all or that we have, that we're the only ones to solve all of the problems. And so this can obviously lead to overwhelm if we're not careful because there is a multitude of things that are just turbulently happening in the world, pretty much endless things. And then we have our own life, our own problems, our own struggles, our community struggles, nation struggles, everything. So, we live in a time that I think is going to go on for more than a few years where we are going to just need to be able to keep the overwhelm at bay so that we are fully functional or as optimally functional as possible. Because the call of our lifetime is that we all have something to contribute here to the solutions that our planet is crying for, screaming for, however you want to look at it. And so it always starts at home, though. So we are going to practice reducing overwhelm at our house, in our families, in our communities. And from there, we can then, go out and serve the world, or I can't remember. I think that might have been from church, actually. But something like that. We're as useful as we can be if we internally can keep ourselves, you know, um, what do you call it? Kind of like, we're not in crisis mode. We're not too optimistic. We're just, we're resilient. We're able to deal with some things and still, put them in the right spots, do things with them, move the energy through, and then go on to the next thing. And so this episode, again, 5 ways to reduce overwhelm. The 5 ways that I have, I mean, there's numerous, but these are my top 5 favorites. Number 1 is breath. Number 2 is exercise. Number 3, mindfulness or meditation, or both. And 4, prioritize. And 5, delegate. These are kind of in random order. I mean, it depends on who you are, what your proclivities are, as far as which one maybe you want to work on first, but they're the top 5. Feel free, obviously, to pick and choose and see what works for you. So, number 1 being breath. I can't remember. Oh, I do remember actually who the person that has told me that really it kind of hit home in a deeper way than anyone else was like one of my first coaches that I ever had. And I was very upset in my first, it was a group coaching training, and it was crazy. It was not crazy. I shouldn't say crazy, but it was extremely overwhelming for me because it was just so different than any kind of life any kind of people that I'd been around, any kind of way of being. It was completely different. And so it really, I was also going through a really hard time in my personal life at the time. And so it just kind of brought just all of everything to the forefront. And so I had, you know, left. I did leave the first class I took. I took it again, obviously, but the first training I could not finish. I think in the afternoon at some point. I'm not sure if it was the second day or I think it was the second day. Yeah, before lunch. I took lunch off and I thought if I walk around downtown enough, I can, get a control of myself a little bit more. I won't be like just I could not stop crying. So I go well, I tried to do that for lunch and I couldn't. So I just decided I was going home. But before I had left, one of the coaches had noticed that I was um, like trying not to cry so much that I was holding my breath. And so she just said to me, she's like, don't hold your breath. Like, you have to breathe through this. And, and I should have known I've had 3 kids. I understand the importance of breathing through pain, through energy to kind of work it through. But crying, I had never really, done much I guess I have never done that much an amount of it at the same time. And so I was trying to hold back an amount of sadness that just there was no use. However, ever since then, I just let it flow. It's like I cry for important things, whether it is a sad thing, whether it's a happy thing, whether it's whatever. If it's important and it has me like really, it's an emotional importance, I will probably be crying. And most of the time I'm not like uncontrollably bawling. However, there are times when I'm doing that too. And I no longer really apologize or try not to do it because there's just, who cares? Let your feelings out. Let it flow through. Crying is extremely therapeutic. And so is breathing. Breathing is critical. And so just to remind yourself, sometimes when we're in overwhelm, we are literally clenching and holding and feeling like, if we move an inch, we are letting the dams burst and it's all over then. And so I just take a deep breath. I find when I'm overwhelmed, my chest just feels like it's got like almost like a metal plate around it. Like it feels like it's so tight. And when I take a deep breath, sometimes I'm thinking to myself, wow, that's the deepest breath I've taken today. And so I'll take another one because it feels so nice. And so I am going to, in the future, do a couple of podcast episodes that are just on breathing techniques so that I can give you a couple that you can use whenever you want. They'll be on the podcast, so they'll be free. You can re-reference them a million times. But I would really, go on YouTube, go wherever you want, and there's tons of them online. But really breathing, like, and if you want to just super start with the basics, like just breathe deeply and allow it to be like as much of an exhale as possible and as much of an inhale as possible so that you're really clearing out the gunk from the pipes, if you want to think of it like that. This will make you feel better very quickly to some degree, but it usually clears the I don't want to say like almost like panic or the like feeling like or stick on the pile is going to break the whole thing. Like it kind of takes you off the edge. And so yes, so I will do that in the future. I have it written down on my list of podcasts to do. And so, but in the meantime, I encourage you to take a look online, even if you want to just practice deep breathing for a few minutes a day. Or anytime you're kind of thinking like, whew, okay, I guess I could do that too. Or I am not sure when I'm going to get the time for this, but I'll figure it out. Take some breaths and just, allow your energy field to soften. And the ideas and the inspiration always come better when you're in a more, like safe or regulated nervous system mode. When you're in a crisis, there's not much, creativity to that. You really are just hunkering down and trying to like get out of the crisis mode. So yes, breath. Super basic, start with 4 counts in, 4 counts out, work up to whatever you can do. And hold it maybe for a minute or two if you want to really be exotic about it. And I will do some other episodes with some other variances. There's lots of things you can do, whether you breathe in or out through your nose or your mouth, or how many counts you hold things for it. They kind of, they all do like the general relaxation refresh, but they feel different. They do activate you in a different way. All right, so that is number 1 of the 5 ways to help reduce overwhelm. And number 2 is exercise. Exercise can be anything from walking to, full powerlifter workout mode to whatever you want. Skiing, hiking, running, kickboxing, jiu-jitsu, like it doesn't matter. Just move your body. Dancing, exercise. So we sit in our desks a lot, unless, I don't know, unless you have a job that, is very mobile. A lot of people sit at their desks at work. They sit at their chairs at, meal times. They sit on the couch in the evening. We're very, very sedentary compared to past generations. And so the idea here is to just move your body. You can start as little or as much as you want. But if you are feeling overwhelmed, I would say more than whatever you are doing currently. And this, there's endless studies. Exercise it helps your mindset, it helps your physical body, it helps your health. There's basically no drawback to it if you're going to do it in moderation. So also for the women that are maybe my age or in menopause, thinking that they might be in perimenopause at some point, walking and weightlifting. And I don't mean, like I don't want to have giant biceps like some kind of bodybuilder, but like, I think I'm far away from that. And so I've started weightlifting, and it's really nice. It makes you feel strong. It makes you feel powerful. And it keeps, as your body ages, different things are moving around. And so it just kind of keeps everything in a little bit better than it would if it wasn't. If you weren't doing any workout with weights. The walking is awesome because it's just like a general maintenance exercise, and it's fresh air. It's, you get to see, depending on the time, you could be out in nature, you could be in the neighborhood, whatever you want. But you're moving your body again, swinging your arms, getting some exercise. It's always refreshing. If I'm at work and I am feeling kind of like, whew, okay, I need a break, I'll walk around the block, and it's nothing special. It probably takes 10, 15 minutes. And there's like main roads. It's not really very scenic. But it's outside and it's not in my office. So those are the 2 requirements basically. If I'm working from home, then obviously I have a little bit better environment to go for walks with. And so that's more interesting, but the moving your body is the point, to kind of like move the energy. If you're starting to feel stuck with something, if you're starting to feel a little overwhelmed because something's not moving, not going the way you wanted, too many things are coming in, you're not getting enough out, all that stuff, the exercise helps move that energy. And as well as, it's good for your mental health, it's good for your physical health. And we all want to live to be 100, hopefully, right? So there you go. Okay, so those were 1 and 2. 1, breath. 2, exercise. 3, mindfulness meditation. Depending on where you are and your experience with this mindfulness meditation, expanse. If you've never meditated in your life before and you're not even sure what it is, you could start with mindfulness. If you have been meditating for ages, you can delve deeper into the meditation rabbit hole. For me, mindfulness is anything that you do to draw your presence to the present moment. And that may sound silly, but it's true. Like, a lot of times we're thinking of the past or we're projecting into the future. And so the mindfulness is just, you can center yourself with breathing. You can center yourself with, focusing on your heart space, just taking some breaths, closing your eyes, becoming present to the present moment. And it seems ridiculously simple, but it is powerful. And so isn't it great that it is so simple? Guided meditations, I think a little bit more of mindfulness, because they are guided. So you're being led into a more peaceful state, but you're not actually like in the gap or the void or like the expanse of the universe, because you are still, visualizing or following whatever the guided meditation is about. But it still can influence you in the sense that if the guided meditation is for peace and calm, then that's, hopefully what you're feeling at the end. If it's for, more self-esteem, more confidence, then that is what would come out the other end. So you can do guided meditations for so many things that sort of help your mind lean that way instead of maybe the negative way that your natural, our minds are bent on the tendency that they want to protect us, which cultivates in a lot of negativity, because it's like, well, we've never done that before, so that's not possible, and might as well stay here because this is where we know, and that over there is new and scary, and who knows, so we're going to just sit here. We could never do that. So we're just like with the mindfulness and the meditation, we are just opening our minds to a different way. And so the deeper you get into meditation, the less it's more silence. It's just more silence. There can be, a couple kind of, the start of it could be sort of instructed and guided as far as just to calm your center, calm yourself, become present, make sure you've kind of detached from all the shit that you might be bringing in with yourself to the meditation. And then from there, it's just you and the universe. And you could use a mantra, you can use your breath, you can do whatever you prefer. But really the idea at its deepest form is for you to commune with your soul, with the spirit, with the universe in an energetic way. And so it's really not, somebody talking to you and instructing you and guiding you the whole time. There is a point where it's just like you with yourself. And what's that relationship like? And so it's extremely relaxing, calming, peaceful. It's the most peace I've ever experienced in my life. It's just beautiful and almost makes me want to like live wherever that is. But we're humans, so we are here on Earth. But we do not need to only be here in the physical like realm that we can see with our two eyes. There is so much more to this world than that. And the juicy golden nuggets of life, part of them is found in your relationship with yourself, when it's just you and yourself. And what do you desire? And what are you about? And just with the universe in peace. And so when you're feeling overwhelmed, wherever you want to start on the mindfulness meditation spectrum is perfect. And then you can just work from there and go in deeper and deeper. And if it's your first time and there is a lot of healing work that's coming up for you, it could be extremely uncomfortable at first. But it's just part of the process. Like meditation is extremely healing. And so, yeah, we do need to understand that it may not just be sitting on a nice pillow and like it's so awesome. It could be extremely triggering. But to just understand that what is coming up for healing. And with love and compassion, that heals everything with time. And then obviously I would encourage you to get either a therapist or a coach, meditation teacher, if you want some more professional direction on anything that might be coming up. And that's it. But yeah, so that's the third way. And I will, as well as the breath work, I'll do some podcasts with some free meditations just so that you can get a flavor for how I do it. And also so you can, reference them and come back to them time and again, depending on what you are struggling with or what you'd like to improve or move towards in your life. So that's 3. The third way to reduce overwhelm is to just become more present, because when we're present, we are not panicking about the future or regretting or guilt tripping ourselves about the past. We are just in the present moment, experiencing things as they come in. We are not projecting our imagination of all the things that are bad that could happen. We are not, kicking ourselves 1,000 times for something we did in the past. We are just here with ourselves and just enjoying the moment. All right, so number 4 is prioritize. So you could do the 3 things. The first one, breath, the second one, exercise, and the third one, mindfulness and meditation. And you could still be saying to me, hey, Lisa, I still have way too many things to do. Like, what in the hell? I still feel overwhelmed because I literally cannot do all these things. And so, yes, that could be true. The fourth thing, after you've sort of done the best you can to like come at the overwhelm with your best, physicality, your best mindset, you then need to prioritize, because nobody can do everything all at the same time. And there is only so many days in a year, so many hours in a day. So prioritize. What is the next thing that needs to happen? Today, if you have a whole work day, if it's work, if it's home and family related, what absolutely has to get done today and what would be nice. And that is it. And so it's like, you might have a list of 100 things, but you can only do, an 8-hour workday or whatever it is. And so what has to get done today? I do this all the time. This is actually like a high performance tool for people. The thing that has to get done today, it's like, do it first. The tendency would be to do, the 1,000 other little things. And then you're clear and ready to do the big thing. By the time you get to it, you might be done the day, and that's not going to work. So, the absolute critical things for the day, mark them down and check them off as you do them. If you get through them all before the end of the day, obviously you can add some more. You can reprioritize. But to just make sure you have chunks of time. And the other thing is with prioritizing, when you're prioritizing a task, that's it. Just do that task. So, turn your notifications, your email notifications off. Turn all the ringers off your phone. Turn them all down. You don't want to be interrupted while you're doing this task. So chunk your time. Maybe you're getting back to people on emails for an hour. Maybe you're doing something, project for a client for a couple of hours in the morning. Do that in chunks. And so it's like you're not answering the phone too while you're doing that. When you're finished a chunk of time, then you can check your email and then you can follow up with emails. Um, check your phone, text, whatever it is, to get back to people. But you do not need to get back to people the instant they connect with you. That's going to make you feel crazy and overwhelmed because you'll be interrupted so much you won't know which way you're going. It's like, okay, and then you go back to your project after talking to someone and you're like, what was I even thinking again? What am I working on? You have to warm up to it again. You have to you want to stay in the flow of something as much as possible. And so chunk your time in hours and 2 hours kind of things and half an hour, whatever works for you. But with the idea that that's the time for it. So there's not you're not going to be distracted by everything else during that piece of time, unless something's on fire or something, but you know what I mean. So that's the thing. If you need help prioritizing, ask someone for help and just say, here's all the things I need to get done this week. What do you think? Would you do this one first or that one first? Sometimes, it helps sort stuff out because somebody can see, maybe because they're a little further away from it than you, what seems more important than others. And then also, somebody more senior than you maybe has more, it's not like they've had more practice prioritizing, let's say. So they probably have some tips and tricks for you. So that's number 5, prioritizing, because we cannot do it all at the same time. And so we're just going to do the best we can every day. And number 5, last but not least, is delegate, because sometimes we do have way more than we can handle on our plates any given day, any given week. And literally, even if you prioritize the shit out of that list, you are never going to get them done all in the week. And maybe some of them, they really do need to get done all at the same time. And so that's when you delegate or you ask for help. And depending on whether it's work or home related, you can pull in your team of people, whether it's people at work, your coworkers. Usually there's a prioritization with work projects in the office that, not every single person's work projects are all due at the same time. So somebody has a little slack, maybe they can help you. Then a few weeks later, you can help them if they need it. And it works beautifully. At home, if you have kids, use them for some work. They get off pretty light, I think, as far as, in general, the contribution they make around the house. So if you need to delegate, like, they're a resource of energy and help that maybe you have not completely tapped into at this point. Your partner, your family, your friends, whatever, situation, arrangement you're in with people you live with, ask them for help. Just, whether it's literally that you are doing everything at home and nobody else is, then obviously, they can do a couple chores, you can do a couple chores. That's amazing. If it's something that you normally do, everyone shares already, but you have something maybe at work that you need to finish, and so then can they handle this too? And then you can finish the thing at work, and then next week they might have something and you help them. It's just like a constant, like, reshuffle, rejuggle to make everyone's life work easier. And you would be surprised at how, I'm not sure what the word is, but like, people, when you ask for help, people like to help people. And so, especially if you're someone who kind of returns the favor, and it just encourages sort of a community. It's a nice community builder. It's a nice sense of belonging because you understand that people have got your back and they're here to make sure, like, the team is winning, not just one person or another person. And it does actually really build trust and community, whether it's in your personal life or your work life. So it's super win-win, win-win, win-win-win. So feel free to use it. We tend to not want to delegate or ask for help because it's sort of like, well, I can handle it. I should be able to handle it. But like, you don't need to martyr yourself. You don't need to be the one that does everything. And so to really get into the movement of, we're all here to get whatever done. And we are all capable of helping each other. And that is that. So that podcast was the 5 ways to reduce overwhelm. The first one was breath. Keep breathing. Number 2, exercise. Take that walk. Even if you don't think you have time, literally like 10, 20-minute walk. It'll make you feel fabulous. And I guarantee you'll get more work done afterwards than if you would have just, if too much sitting around is just not good for your brain, I don't think. And, studies show that. And so it's like, if you take even, I think, I can't remember where I saw it, but every hour, if you just even get up and do some jumping jacks, literally, or like, run around your kitchen, I don't know, whatever you want to do, something to get yourself moving and flowing and physically moving, the energy will be great. So if you are super, super tight for time, do like a minute of jumping jacks. If you have 10 or 20 minutes, even speed walk around your neighborhood, whatever you want to do, just to reset. It refreshes your mind. It refreshes your soul. You're going to feel better. You'll come back to work and feel more. Here's the solution. Oh, it's just staring right at, it's so obvious now. Something like that. Third, mindfulness meditation. So just, again, it's just becoming present to the present moment. Overwhelm it's similar to anxiety, where it's like the future anticipation of, the fact that you'll never be able to get all this done, or there's so much freaking turbulence in the world right now. Like, how are we ever going to save how is this ever going to get fixed? And that is overwhelm. It's like the future projection. And so to become present of the present moment, it's like, okay, I'm just sitting here at my podcasting desk, recording a podcast. I can see the trees outside the window. I have my Kleenex box nearby so I don't have to sniff, and I got my notes here. Okay, so like in this moment, everything is fine. And I'll take this and I'll move it to the next moment, next moment, next moment. If you want to do guided, deeper meditations, that is totally up to you, and wherever, depending on where you are on sort of the journey of what I would call meditation, but mindfulness is sort of the pre-meditation. And so use it. We are used by our minds so much, and we need to stop it. We have far more control over our existence and our experience than we give ourselves credit for. And so this is just another way of reinforcing that. And it's like, okay, no, I'm feeling overwhelmed. I can totally feel that. And here I have some tools. I can help myself, back off that ledge. And so 4 is prioritize. You might have 100 things to do. You can only do 7 of them today. Which ones are the top priority? And then from there, you can communicate with your clients or your family or whatever. This other stuff is going to get done later. It's going to be tomorrow. It's going to be Friday, whatever. Expectations are really important to express to people, especially, in any relationship, right? Whether they're clients or whether they're your loved ones. It's good that everyone knows kind of what to expect. And so this is just part of that, is prioritizing. You're organizing yourself. You come off as very organized and, on top of things, even if you're going to say that maybe something can't be done. until 2 days after they were hoping. But most people, most of the time, it's no big deal. And number 5 is delegate. Ask for help, delegate depending on what the situation is. There is people, you like every human loves, like the purpose of our existence is like existentially is basically to just help others, improve their life. And so we want to help. We want to help. And somehow society has turned into this existence of like, the tougher you are, the more independent you are, the more like you can do it on your own, then that's somehow better. And it's not. And I've totally done that for a long time and I'm over it. I hope we can all, as a society, just be over it because it is way more enjoyable to work on something with a group. And whether it's your family as a group, whether it's your work as a group, like it's just such a nice symbiotic relationship when everyone's helping everyone. And like the team wins. It's not only me, it's not only you. The win-lose thing that's so 1999 or even last year. Like we're over that too. So this is just like retraining ourselves to be available for people to help them, but mostly women are very good at helping others. It's mostly for us, we need to train ourselves to accept help, to even ask for help, and to share the load, right? We know we're guilty of not sharing the load. We seem to take it on like we are the masters of all and we're just exhausted. So stop it. Use this as your reason to redesign that part of your life where it's like, it's okay to delegate. It's okay to ask for help. It's part of getting shit done. And that's good. That's good. All right. So I hope this gives you some inspiration. I hope it reduces overwhelm even just by listening to it and just gives you some new ideas, some new insights into how you can kind of add some things to your life that maybe, well, they will help reduce overwhelm and that maybe you just, maybe you started doing, maybe you had never thought about it, who knows. But I do hope that it helps and I hope that you have a beautiful day. I will see you on the next episode. Take care.